Hello, this is Anthony DuPont. This is going to be a demo displaying my final project to make sure to show that everything does work. I understand that I made the UI, so it makes sense to me, but it obviously might not make sense to everybody that's using the UI. So I'm obviously biased as to how much I know about the UI. So I would like to make this video to display everything just in case my UI ends up being confusing. I am not sure if it will be or not. So here we'll have this big empty area with nothing in it. That is because we have to select a model. When the program starts up, no models are selected. So we can click on this drop down here and we can click on the blender and we have this outline of a blender here. And if I were to click on the cup, we can see that the name changes. So let's focus on the blender. Let's enable the light. So now it goes away. Let's give it some material. A bit of a blue and a bit of a red. Give it some purple. And here for the light, we'll want light 1 to be dedicated to red. So we can see as this increase, the light increases as well. So if I leave it here, if I disable it, we'll see that it properly gets disabled. And I can re-enable it. And let's give it some diffuse as well. So let's put diffuse all the way up and we'll see as I turn this dial, the diffuse updates with it. That's great. And let's show the specular as well. So we can see as I turn this around, we can see the specular. And if I were to turn around right here, much brighter side of it, if I change the shininess value, we can see that it updates as well. Great. All right. So now let's introduce another light, light 2, and I'm going to give it blue instead. So this will be purple. And as we can see, it's not currently enabled. So let's enable it and boom, there it is, purple. And we can see both of them interacting with each other. And if I were to go back and turn light 1 off, this will not be purple anymore, it will be blue. And there we go. And I'll give it some diffuse as well. That one's a bit harder to see with the current setup. Um, we can see as I turn it on and off, there's a slight color difference right here. So we do know it's working. And then I can turn anything on. So let's just go ahead and disable this light now that we know that two lights can work at the same time. Let's go ahead and disable it. Let's go back to light 1. Um, I can move a model in all three axes, the X direction, rotate it this way, rotate it in the Y, rotate it in the X as well. And the camera position, we can zoom in and out in a lot of different axes as well. Let's go ahead and do it for the Hubble one. So we can see we're moving in the X direction here. And then let's go ahead and move in the Y direction. And then we can see we can go up and down. And let's move in the Z direction. So here we're kind of going into the model, slightly not exactly in due to our X and Y also being set. And let's reset this back to 500. There we go. Okay, so and then let's go ahead and change the point light. So let's go with a cup here. I can change it back and forth like this. Here I can update the light position. So as I move up, you can see the shadows are also moving with it. They're updating. Move down. Let's put this back to 22, and then here we can see this one is a slight update, but it is still updating. It would probably update more if I were to update other axes as well. And we can see all of them affect the cup for light position. Okay, so now that should have covered all the models, and we can change between all the models here, and the light still affects them. The rotation does as well. Everything carries over. So let's go ahead and put this rotation back. And I'm not sure if I've gone over all the models, but here they all are rendering correctly. And let's go back to the cup now. So now that we've covered the material, we've covered the lights, multi-lights, point light, distant light, the light position, shininess, rotating around the X, Y, and Z, and zooming in and out around X, Y, and Z, and rendering all the models. The last thing needed is shaders. So currently it's set to none, but I do have a toon shader right here. And this toon shader is based on light 1. So if I were to go to light 2 here and update this, we see that nothing is happening at all. So light 1, if I move this around, we can see that the shader does react to it. And this happens for all of the directions. And let's do this one as well. And there we go. All right, so that displays the toon shader. Now we're going to move on to Sobel, which isn't working much. It does go all white, but it doesn't enhance the edges like it's supposed to. So this is all that's really happening with that one. Um, if you click on the shader and you thought it was broken or something, it's definitely broken. It's not any setup or anything like that. It's not really working. Then this shader here is my own. I like this one. What I ended up doing was I turned all the surface normals into an RGB color. Since surface normals are between 0 and 1, RGB colors are also between 0 and 1. Very easy transition from one to the other to be able to get something like this. And we can see if I go to other models here, they all look pretty cool with it, in my opinion. I do like the look. Let's go to the shuttle. Very different normals here, different colors. The spoon, ranch, and then the cup again. But yeah, so that's my shader. My other shader is a noise shader. Let's go to, let's see, maybe the Hubble. If I put the noise shader here, we can see that there's a bunch of noise all over it. This does point out the surface normals a lot more. We can see these triangles here. Um, and what is happening here is I have a function that randomly generates values, a bit pseudo-random. And as I move the model around, these values are going to change every single time that the shader is applied. So as we can see here, the values are constantly changing. And this is for all of them, so even the cup. That one's a bit harder to see due to those lines, but it is happening here as well. And the blender, that one is it almost seems like a glass shininess, but it is noise. Um, Even the spoon, now that one's a bit crazy with the surface normals here, but yeah, so that's my last shader here. I'm gonna go set it back to none here. I do have this button down here that is quite random. It's literally that. It sets random values for the RGB. So, and I can set this point light. As you click through it, we can go look at the cup, and it just changes the values constantly. So it's just randomness really. You can have fun with just clicking it over and over and over and seeing what kind of combinations you can get. But yeah, this should cover everything that is needed for the final project, and this should display all of it working. Hopefully my UI is not complicated. But yeah, thank you for watching.